good evening to anyone who comes across this video, and if you stop by and actually watch, I very much appreciate it. I really do. If you leave any comments, I'll try my best to actually respond as much as I can to any questions. And if you are new, my name is Matthew. I'm a HEMA practitioner. I very much enjoy weapons and armor. Now, I don't talk too much. I really don't think I'm the greatest at talking. I stumble over my words here and there. But I want to get out of my comfort zone because it's been it's New Year's and was New Year's. And I want to get better overall when it comes to making content. So I figured this is a great way and time to talk about some misconceptions you might hear about HEMA and weapons. Now, HEMA itself has a lot of misconceptions in it due to the fact that there's a lot of different opinions about HEMA. Now, by no means what I say is the truth to everyone. Because again, everyone has their own opinion about it. To some, it is nothing for health and fitness. For some, it is basically just trying to be the strongest there is. For others, it's nothing but competition. There's so many different thought processes of HEMA. So there are a lot of misconceptions that kind of come along with it because some people might be very aggressive, other people are very calm and relaxed. Basically, when it comes down to it, is every HEMA practitioner is their own individual who has their own way of doing things. By no means is one way better than another. Another kind of set of misconceptions I do want to touch on a little bit more is actually about a weapon that we all hear about so much. And that is the katana. We all love it or hate it, depending on how you feel about it. This thing is a weapon. It's a tool. Because I've been seeing a lot of people talk about the katana with no actual knowledge of the history of it or how it was even used. There's a lot of people who talk about it as if it's nothing but a fantasy weapon, when in reality it was a real thing and it was used. But it wasn't a godlike weapon that could cut through everything. And vice versa, it wasn't a piece of garbage that was going to break as soon as you tried to parry another blade with it. I don't know how this one weapon got so many misconceptions about it. I have no idea how, because long swords are also very popular, great swords are very popular as well. But for the most part, a lot of those are very easily kind of talked about. Like, a lot of people generally understand the concept of a lot of them. But this one weapon, I have no idea how this thing became a god slayer or something that's going to break as soon as you touch it to the ground. Now, I'm going to try not to ramble on because it just baffles me. I'm sorry. It just really does baffle me. But like I said, the quality of this weapon comes down to who crafted it. Just like a longsword, great sword, polearm, it doesn't matter. Whoever crafted it very much shows the quality of it. If they're a good smith, they'll be able to make a good quality for good price, yada yada yada. If they're a legendary smith, they might have a higher price tag because they're able to make it just that little bit better. So it's going to have a higher price tag. Or there are some people who just made them very cheaply to just quickly sell. Now, there's no shade against them. They were following their family business because that's how a lot of blacksmiths came to become blacksmiths, is they had children and taught their children. And throughout the generations, they just eventually get better and better. So the quality of a katana very much depended on the blacksmith. So you might have some that are going to fall apart or break with ease. But you're going to have others that are going to withstand the test of time. Other misconceptions you might hear is this thing have an auto edge alignment. I have no idea why or how people think that, but with how you actually use a sword, there is no such thing as auto edge alignment. There is a little test that they like to show to be like, oh, because when you don't hold on to it, it drops and keeps the blade down. But that's just letting gravity do the job. That's not how you use a sword. When you're using a sword, you yourself are applying pressure onto it and forcing it into directions. No matter what, you yourself and your muscles are making sure it's going in a direction that you want. So when you're actually using a sword, it itself will never just align itself perfectly all the time. Now, you can get lucky, and there are pseudo effects that feel like auto edge alignment, like how sharp is the blade. The sharper the blade, the easier it is for cutting, and easier it is for cutting, you will be able to get away with worse and worse alignment. It's just been something that a lot of people have tested and shown. The sharper the blade, the more you can actually get out of it when it comes to ease of use. The more dull the blade, you have to generally perfect it a little bit more per swing. Now, you can get too dull and then it's never going to cut. It's just going to rip and tear, depending on how dull it is. But those are the general fundamentals of swords that a lot of people are going against when they talk about this thing. Again, just like long swords or great swords, which have a lot of history behind them as well, I don't know how some people have these misconceptions happen. This thing is not any different than a lot of other swords. It has its own culture and its own way of using it for sure. Especially if you're doing kendo, which is a sport, kind of similar to hema. It is a sport, so its moves that you use in kendo are going to be different compared to the battlefield. But that's kind of part of the history of it, is kendo was not meant to be used for battle on war ground. It was a way to keep your skills sharp, way to actually practice from the start and maybe move on to other things. But I'm gonna stop rambling on because I have a bad habit of keep on talking. I appreciate anyone who actually stops by, and I do hope you actually enjoy this video and learn something about it. This weapon is perfectly fine, just like any other weapon, and I would love to talk more about other weapons if you guys want, see how this video goes. And thank you very much for actually watching. If you leave any comments, I will do my best to respond. Thank you very much, and I do hope you guys have a good rest of your day.